for your green and blue ribbons, left fielder, #1, Braden Blue.
Okay, let's try this again, shall we? It was brought to my attention that the camera was frozen for a minute there, which is not what we need. Hopefully it's better now. If you folks watching want to type in the chat, go ahead. As it is just me this afternoon. Have a little interactive conversation as Braden Blue takes first pitch for a strike. Nationals went 1-2-3 in the first. Braden lifts that one foul out of play. On the mound today for the Nationals is Joe Roundtree, big number 13 out on the mound. Here's the 0-2. Ground ball third base side. Routine for Kirchhoff, and that's out number 1. Blue is retired, and that'll bring up Jake Petazik. Jake, the left-handed batter, takes inside for strike 1. Of course, this is what happens with these things. We reset the entire software here at the ballpark, so I'm now using a different computer, using a PC, which, no offense to anyone who still has them, I refer to PCs as pointless computers. Here's the 0-1, inside for a ball. And there's a new score bug, as you folks can see. There's a different wiring system with that. It looks pretty cool, all things considered, but it still takes a little bit of getting used to. Here's a 1-1 to Jake, inside for a ball. And then, out of everything that could have gone wrong, the camera was frozen. So just had to turn it off and turn it back on. It looks like it's working properly. As the next offering is in for a called strike 2. Count moves to 2-2 on Petazik. But we should be all good now. Here's the 2-2 from Roundtree. Breaking pitch, swung on and missed. Petazik goes down swinging. That's out number 2. And that'll bring up Bryce Duzak. Duzak has been a mainstay in this lineup after the initial opening weekend. Takes a breaking pitch from Roundtree for a called strike. Big right-handed batter in this lineup. The next offering is another breaking ball for a called strike 2. 0-2 on Duzak, a .333 average. 3 hits in 9 at-bats. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Ball gets away from the catcher Bloomberg. They'll throw it down to first to complete the strikeout. To end the inning. So the Nationals go 1-2-3. The Blue Ribbons go 1-2-3. We're off and running from Joannes Park after 1. 0-0 game on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. Axel Donaldson is on the mound for Green Bay. He will face Caleb Zabelski to lead off the top of the second inning. Tom D'Angelo with you on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. Sam Marchant taking a much-deserved day with her family at the Savannah Bananas game, I believe it was. Sam told me this earlier. Banana Ball, that's what it was at American Family Field. I gotta say this about American Family Field. To me, it will always be Miller Park, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. Where the Brewers played. All these stadiums changing names from what it used to be kind of bothers me. There's a breaking ball in for strike two. Miller Park just sounds so much more iconic than American Family Field. Of course, no offense to American Family Insurance. They're a good company and all. But I sort of feel the same way about some other historic. Imagine if Lambeau Field had its name changed to pick up some sponsor. That would just feel wrong, wouldn't it? At least to me it would. Here comes the 1-2 to Zabelski. Donaldson deals. And it's a called strike three. Zabelski goes down. There's one away, and that will bring up Max Montgomery.
Now batting the center fielder, number 99, Max Montgomery.
Montgomery wearing 99. Can imagine an homage to Aaron Judge. There's another stadium. Breaking ball in for a strike. Can you imagine if they just changed Yankee Stadium or Fenway Park? It wouldn't feel right. Those are historic venues, and I know that Miller Park has not been around for as long as either of those two spots have been. Called strike two. It just feels like that needs to always be a thing. Here comes the 1-2, outside for a ball. Donaldson delivers, and that hit him. At least I thought it did. Maybe it caught the knob of the bat instead. Looks like that might be what it is, so Montgomery will stay put. In a 2-2 count. And he hits that one into left center, sinking for a base hit. The first base runner of the day is Max Montgomery.
Now batting the third baseman, number 1, Trey Kirkhoff.
So that'll bring up Trey Kirkhoff, the third baseman. Trey wearing number 1. With one down here in the top of the second inning. Where we've talked about historic stadiums changing names as the first pitch is outside. The next offering is in for a strike. Another one, Wrigley Field. I'm sorry to all the Brewer fans listening, but if it was changed to Nathan's Stadium for like Nathan's Hot Dogs or something, it wouldn't have the same lure as it currently does. Of course, Brewer fans are happy to travel to Wrigley these days with the state of the Chicago National League Ball Club and where the Brewers currently sit. Here's the 1-2. Poked foul out of play. Milwaukee currently 5 games clear of everybody in the National League Central. Another 1-2 pitch is upstairs. The St. Louis Cardinals are surprisingly having a good season. They currently are 33-28. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Kirchhoff is out number 2. That's the second strikeout of the inning for Donaldson, and that'll bring up Andrew Carlson with 2 down and 1 on here in the top of the second. Carlson, another right-handed batter, takes outside. Home plate umpire will clean off home plate. Pitch is outside for a ball. 2-0 the count on Carlson. Sun has come out in full force this afternoon. Breaking ball in for a strike. Three strikeouts already today for Donaldson. Here's the 2-1. Down low, ball 3. So the count moves to 3-1 on Carlson. Jackson Blomberg, the catcher, standing in the on-deck circle. Max Montgomery is at first. The 3-1 is taken high, ball 4. Nice plate appearance from Carlson to draw a walk. Montgomery moves into scoring position, and that'll bring up the aforementioned Jackson Blomberg. Donaldson's ready. He fires. Misses down low for ball 1. Nationals are 3-0 coming into this game. Next pitch is upstairs for ball 2. They swept a doubleheader over the Addison Braves and then defeated Kenosha 7-6 2 nights ago. They've got 2 here this afternoon at Joanne's. Here comes the 2-0 to Blomberg. Breaking ball in for a strike. And the 2-1 is hit into right center field. That's going to get down for extra bases. They're going to turn and have Montgomery come home and score. They will hold up Carlson at third. That's an RBI double for Jackson Blomberg, and that makes it 1-0 Nationals.
First things here, batter the shortstop, number 2, Chance Ruby. If this batter strikes out, you'll be buy one, get one free PBR for the remainder of the game.
So 2 men in scoring position for Chance Ruby, the shortstop, the 9-hole hitter. Takes the first pitch for a strike. The next offering is a lifted foul out of play. Count quickly goes to 0-2. Ruby is the beer batter, so that's what you just heard as he pops this one up on the infield. It's playable. Coming in and making the catch is the center fielder Mason Sequin. But the first run comes home to score. The Nationals get on the board. It is now 1-0 West Allis. We move to the bottom of the second inning on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. We welcome you back and move to the bottom of the second inning. 1-0 in favor of West Allis. They just got on the board after an RBI double from Jackson Blomberg in the top of the second. Dawson Schmidt will lead things off for Green Bay here in the bottom half of inning number 2. And he swings and grounds the first pitch foul out of play. Dawson having a very strong start to the season. .429 average. 4 RBIs for him already. Takes down low for a ball. Against Joe Roundtree, the right-hander for West Allis. Grounds another one foul out of play. Here comes the 1-2. That one lifted into right center. Montgomery and Zaboleski going after it. Montgomery can't make the catch. Schmidt will scoot into second. That will go down as an error, no doubt. On the center fielder, Max Montgomery. Leadoff man is aboard. And if you can hear that music, you know who's coming up. It's James Bornick. James was out of the lineup for a couple of games. Back in there today. Still have not yet had a chance to ask him about the reasoning for his walk-up music. Would be curious to know that. Here comes the first pitch from Roundtree. It's outside for a ball. That requires a bit of investigative reporting. Does figuring out the reasoning for the Careless Whisper walk-up music. It's a good song, no question. As he grounds this one foul out of play, it goes to 1-1 the count. Bornick, a .375 hitter. Takes down low and in for a ball. Set the franchise record in doubles in a game earlier this year. Already has 2 doubles to his name so far this season. One of the most decorated players in Blue Ribbon's history. Here's the 2-1. He hits this one into right field. Coming in is Zaboleski. And he makes the catch. Schmidt will have to hold at second. That's out number 1. Bornick is retired, and that'll bring up Isaac Pullman.
Number 28, Isaac Pullman.
I think if I had to choose a walk-up song, it would certainly differ depending on sort of the year or maybe the season, depending on what we're in the mood for. Here comes the first pitch. It's in for a strike. I think the opening to Uproar by Lil Wayne would be one of choice there. When the bass first drops. I think that'd be kind of a fun one. Here comes the 0-1 from Roundtree. It's inside for a called strike 2. Pullman down 0-2. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Pullman goes down. That's out number 2.
Now batting the shortstop, number 30, Braden Steinbecker.
And that will now bring up Braden Steinbecker. Braden playing shortstop today. Schmidt still standing at second. Here's the first pitch from Roundtree. Kind of got away from him there. Looked like he took a awkward skip off the mound. Just had to regain his composure for a minute. Here's the 1-0. Fastball hit high in the air. Going out as a second baseman, Harreby. And he makes the catch to end the inning. So the Blue Ribbons strand Schmidt at second. They cannot take advantage of the error by Montgomery and go in order after that. We go to the third. Still 1-0 Nats on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. We move to the third. 1-0 West Allis over the Blue Ribbons of Green Bay. Tyrese Mitchell will lead things off for the Nats. 0 for 1 so far today. Takes the first breaking ball outside for ball one. Next offering is a ground ball. That will be off the glove of Patazik. Steinbecker will field it and not have a throw. That would have been a tough play for Braden to make. Mitchell is on first safely. And that will bring up Tanner Harreby. That's the third hit of the day for the Nationals already. Here's Harreby. He's also 0 for 1. Takes the first pitch for a strike. Next offering is in for a called strike 2. Just trying to look at the scoreboard that you see on your screen out in right field. They're going to check on Mitchell at first. Nothing doing there. Normally when it's a night game, you can see the numbers pretty clearly, which gives it a easier time knowing what the count is, how many hits each team has, how many errors. Here's the 0-2 pitch, which misses up high. Today, with the sun being as bright as it is, as you folks can see on your screen, a little bit more difficult to pick it out. Here's the 1-2. Just barely missed. That's ball 2 now to Harreby. With a runner on first here in the top of the third inning. The next offering. That's poked into right field. Chasing after it is Schmidt. It's down for a base hit. Stopping at second is Mitchell. Back-to-back singles for the Nationals. And that'll bring up Jonah Meidel. Meidl struck out his first time up. That was back in the first inning. Attempted to lay down a bunt. First strike. Meidl the DH in this Nationals lineup for Steve Elliott's ball club. The 0-1 is outside for a ball. There is some humidity today, so fans are trying to stay cool. There's a large crowd. You folks can't see it on your screen, but a large crowd right in front of the press box here at Joanne's. That's a high pop fly on the infield. Patazik, having to shield his eyes from the sun, makes the catch for the first out of the inning.
Number 28, Caleb Zabilski.
That'll bring up Caleb Zabilski. He struck out his first time up. I always feel for baseball players on extremely hot days. I have never accused myself of being a baseball player and never will, as that one is shot off to the right side out of play. But having to wear pants when it's humid in the mid-80s to 90s, that doesn't sound super enjoyable, at least not all the time. Here's the 0-1. Gets away from Duzak, and both runners will advance on the wild pitch. Count goes to 1-1. Two on, only one down for Donaldson. He delivers, and that one is sliced foul out of play. Donaldson pitched for Green Bay a season ago. Looking to get out of this jam. Just misses with a breaking ball, count even at 2-2. The next offering, ground ball, first base side, foul. So we'll do it again. That could have potentially been trouble had it stayed fair, as streaking for home was Mitchell, who's on third. Big RBI chance for the cleanup man. Next offering is fouled. And the ball hit a post that's overlooking some of the fans, and it jostled another ball loose. How about that? So there's now a 2-for-1 deal on free baseballs for some of the fans here. Ground ball, that'll be taken by Steinbecker. Only play is at first, and he gets him. Coming in to score is Mitchell. And advancing to third is Harrowby. The Nationals now extend their lead. It is 2-0, with two down and a runner on third. Here's Max Montgomery. He singled and came around to score in the previous inning. It's that one foul out of play. Donaldson trying to leave a runner stranded at third. Here's the 0-1. Nice block from Duzak. Count even now at 1-1. Next offering, ground ball, right back to Steinbecker at short. Routine for him, and he makes the play to end the inning. But another run comes in to score, and the Nationals extend their lead. It is now 2-0. We go to the bottom of the third inning on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. Garrett Brown will lead things off in the third inning. The Blue Ribbons will try to begin a rally as they trail 2-0 to the West Allis Nationals. Joe Roundtree is still on the mound for the Nats. And he deals a ball inside to Garrett Brown. Garrett batting only .250, but he has had some impactful moments so far this year as he laces one down the left field line foul. Brown playing at second base as he has all season long. Takes a called strike. Count moves to 1-2. Mason Sequin is in the on-deck circle for Green Bay as Roundtree fires. That one hit back up the middle, and that's going to drop into shallow center field for a base hit. A leadoff single for Garrett Brown. That's the first hit of the day for Green Bay.
Now batting with center fielder number 22, Mason Sequin.
And Mason Sequin will be the batter. Sequin batting .200. Does have 2 RBIs, though. This would be a good time for one of those. First pitch to Mason is down low for a ball. Here comes the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Sam and I have talked at length this year about how important it is for the bottom of your lineup to be effective. And through the first handful of games so far this season, the Blue Ribbons have been quite effective from all parts of their lineup, but the bottom has been especially impactful. That one fouled away. Count moves to 1-2. And here's the next offering. That one poked foul out of play. They'll do it again. Saturday afternoon baseball on the east side of Green Bay. Sequin is ready. Roundtree is ready. Here's another 1-2. Ball skips in the dirt. Nice block from the catcher Bloomberg. That is ball 2. Count now even. Garrett Brown singled to lead off this inning. He's standing at first. Sequin with his bright pink bat. Here comes the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Sequin goes down swinging. That's the first out of the inning. The lineup will turn over, and that brings up Braden Plew. Had a chance to speak with Braden in the pregame interview today, facing off against his former ball club. Still good buddies with a number of players on this team. 0 for 1 so far today. He swings at the first pitch and laces a ball into left field. That's a base hit. Advancing to second on the play is Brown. Plew is aboard, and that'll bring up Jake Patazik. Jake, the left-handed batting third baseman. Runners on first and second, only one down here in the third inning. Blue Ribbons trail it 2-0 to the Nationals of West Allis. long pause in between pitches as Roundtree's staring at Brown at second. Deals inside for a ball. Brown dancing at second. Here's the next offering. Outside, ball 2. Down low, ball 3. So 3-0 now the count on Patazik. Bryce Duzak standing in the on-deck circle. And that offering was in for ball 4. And that will load the bases. Patazik draws a walk. And Bryce Duzak will have the bases juiced with only 1 down in the third. And there will be a brief discussion out on the mound. We'll be back in 30 seconds on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. Welcome back. There has been a pitching change now on the mound for the Nationals is number 39, Danny Belknap, the right-handed pitcher. He will go to work against Bryce Duzak with the bases loaded and only 1 down here in the third inning. This is now back-to-back games where the Blue Ribbons have seen some pitching changes early on. That one gets up the middle, a base hit for Duzak. Coming in to score is Brown. Right on his heels is Plew. And now in a rundown, they've got Patazik. Throw to third. He is out there. Heading down to second is Duzak, safe at second base. All sorts of action on that two RBI single, and then advancing to second on the play was Duzak.
Now batting number 24, Dawson Schmidt.
There are now 2 down in the inning. But the Blue Ribbons have tied it up. Dawson Schmidt standing in the batter's box. And he hits that one into right field, a base hit. They are going to send Duzak, and the Blue Ribbons take the lead. RBI single for Dawson Schmidt. This offense keeps humming. It is now 3-2, and we are going to have another visit on the mound. There is another new pitcher on the mound. It is Rhett Emmons, number 30, another right-handed pitcher. He will face James Bornick in the second pitching change, and only 2 batters faced. I can't recall the last time I've ever seen it. Of course, in the majors now you have the 3-batter minimum rule. But Steve Elliott making a swift decision to go with Emmons to face Bornick with 2 down and a runner on third. Here in the third, Bornick pops up the first pitch that he sees. It's drifting foul and out of play. Danny Belknap did not record an out, and he saw 3 Blue Ribbons touch home plate, and only 2 batters faced. Here's the 0-1 to Bornick. It gets away from the catcher, Bloomberg. Heading to second is Schmidt. So now a runner in scoring position for Bornick, who knows a thing or two about driving in runs in his career. Emmons is ready, and he deals. Swing and a miss. Ball gets away once again. Schmidt's going to head down to third. So a few wild pitches. Bloomberg is having a tough time back there. I would be interested to ask Steve Elliott this after the game, if there's an opportunity to, but with the constant pitching changes, I mean, that can really cause some confusion for your catcher unless you have a really steady backstop back there. But only 2 batters faced from Belknap. Eamon's now on the mound. Here's the next offering. Ground ball foul out of play. Warnick is 0 for 1 so far this afternoon. He's got a runner on third base in Schmidt. Here's the 1-2. And that one, it looks like he fouled off of his foot. He's going to take a step back for a moment. Warnick steps back into the batter's box. Another 1-2 from Eamons. Breaking ball is outside for a ball. Just missed. That looked like a pretty good pitch. Two and two the count. 2 down in the third. Inside and low for ball 3. The count runs full. So if anything, a good plate appearance here from James Bornick. Here comes the 3-2. And that misses low, ball 4. Bornick works a walk. That'll put runners at the corners for Isaac Pullman. Pullman struck out his previous time up, looking to extend this inning, keep this rally going. 3 runs have already come in to score. 4 hits for Green Bay in this inning. That's a dropped strike. Count is 0-1. Here's the next offering. Ground ball foul out of play. Two on, 2 down. Bottom of inning number 3. A 3-2 game between Green Bay and West Allis. Brett Eamons on the mound. The runner goes, swing and a miss, and that ends the inning. But it is a prosperous and big inning for Green Bay. They score 3 times off of 4 hits. They do leave a pair stranded, but they take the lead. We go to the 4th. Green Bay 3, West Allis 2 on the Green Bay Blue Ribbons Media Network. Trey Kirchhoff will lead things off for the Nationals, who now trail it 3-2 at the hands of the Green Bay Blue Ribbons. Kirchhoff swings and fouls away the first pitch. Joe Roundtree only able to go a couple of innings before the bullpen took over. Axel Donaldson still on the mound for Green Bay as there's a strike. It's 0-2. The next offering is a ground ball that'll be taken by Garrett Brown. Easy play to first, and that's out number 1. Kirchhoff is retired, and that'll bring up Andrew Carlson. Just thinking about that previous inning, we had 2 pitching changes, only 2 batters in between. Big swing and a miss from Carlson. Donaldson has been able to steady the ship for Green Bay. Carlson lines that one softly into left field. That's a base hit. A 1-out single for Andrew Carlson. He reaches for the second time, and that'll bring up Jackson Bloomberg. Bloomberg with an RBI double so far in the game today. Drove in one of the 2 runs for the Nationals. Swings at a breaking pitch and lifts it into center. Coming in is Sequin. He makes the catch for out number 2. So with 2 down, that'll bring up Chance Ruby, who is 0 for 1 so far today. Hit a fly ball to center his previous time up. He's got a runner on first and 2 down in the 4th. As pickoff throw got away from Bornick for just a moment. They're going to check on Carlson again. That's a ground ball. It'll stay fair. Patazik will glove it. He does not have a throw. Ruby will be safe with an infield single. Advancing to second is Carlson. There are 2 on and 2 down now in the 4th. The lineup turns over, and that'll bring up Tyrese Mitchell. Mitchell 1 for 2 with a single. He's got a runner in scoring position and a chance to tie this game. He faces Donaldson. Up high, ball 1. Here's the next offering. Breaking ball called strike 1. This will be interesting to see how the Nats handle their pitching staff, as we've already seen them get into trouble and pull the plug on a couple of guys early in this one. That ball in the dirt for ball 2. There is some action in the Blue Ribbons bullpen at the moment. Just trying to get through this inning is Donaldson. Up high, ball 3. Ruby on first, Carlson on second, Mitchell in the batter's box. Tanner Harreby in the on-deck circle, and we will see him come up to bat with the bases loaded, as that is ball 4. Harrowby is also 1 for 2 with a single. First pitch to him is a called strike. Up high for a ball. First start of the season for Axel Donaldson, the De Pere High School graduate and the Madison Junior College student. That one is slicing foul out of play. Count moves to 1-2 on Harrowby. Trying to get through this inning and leave them loaded. Bases full and ats. That hits softly, first base side. Bornick can't make the catch. Everyone's going to be safe. A run will come in to score, and this game is tied. Coming in to score was Carlson. As it is now 3-3. And we will have a meeting on the mound. We'll see if this is a pitcher's change or not. Looks like they're going to leave Donaldson out there for the moment. Jonah Meidel will be the batter. First offering is outside for a ball. So it looks like they're actually giving Bornick an error on that last play where Harrowby was safe at first. There's a strike. So it goes down as an E3. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Count moves to 1-2. And for Donaldson, just trying to limit the damage. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Here's the 1-2. That one grounded foul out of play. Meidel looking to give the Nationals the lead. Donaldson looking to get out of the inning. That ball gets away from Duzak. Coming home to score is Ruby. Everybody will move up a base. And the Nationals now take a 4-3 lead. Some costly mistakes from Green Bay so far in this game. Count still even at 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that will end the inning. But not before a pair of runs come home to score. It is now 4-3 Nationals. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. Welcome back to Joannes Park, where the West Allis Nationals have taken a 4-3 lead over the Green Bay Blue Ribbons in Game 1 of this doubleheader. Braden Steinbecker is in the batter's box, facing Rhett Emmons, who came in relief in the previous half inning. In the previous inning, I should say. Steinbecker slices one foul out of play. Braden is 0 for 1 so far today. He trails 0-2 in this count against Emmons. Here's the 0-2. Down low for a ball. And the 1-2 is inside, and that drills Steinbecker. He will take a bruise, take his base. Leadoff man is aboard for Green Bay, and that'll bring up Garrett Brown. Brown 1 for 1 with a single, and he came around to score in the third. Good start to the season for Garrett. Attempted to lay down a bunt, but pulled it back. Count goes to 1-0. Let's take a little look at some baseball history that happened today, June the 6th. On this day in baseball history in 1992, Eddie Murray became the all-time RBI leader by a switch hitter, passing the great Mickey Mantle with his 1,510th RBI. Eddie Murray, most famous for playing first base for the Baltimore Orioles back in the day. As here's the 2-0 to Brown, in for a called strike. In the year 1992, he was playing for the New York Mets. A 20-year career in baseball began in 1977 with Baltimore and ended in 1997 with both the Anaheim Angels and the Los Angeles Dodgers. As that ball gets away, going to second on the play is Steinbecker, as the count moves to 3-1. Eddie Murray, one of the all-time greats. Brown ahead, 3-1. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Count is full. Here comes the 3-2 from Emmons. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Brown goes down. There's one away in the inning, and that'll bring up Mason Sequin. Mason is 0 for 1. He struck out his previous time up. He's got a great walk-up song, as I was talking about earlier. He hits this one well into left field. Going back is Mitchell. It's over his head for extra bases. Coming home to score is Steinbecker. It's an RBI double for Mason Sequin, and this game is tied. So we start all over. It's 4-4 in the bottom of inning number 4. 1 down and 1 on for Braden Plew. Plew is 1 for 2 with a single, and he came around to score in the third inning. Breaking ball is in for strike one. Braden is off to a red-hot start. Batting .500 with 2 triples and 2 RBIs. And both those triples came in the same game, mind you. He lifts this one into right. Coming in is Zabelski. And he makes the catch. Holding at second is Sequin. There are 2 down. And that'll bring up Jake Potazik.
Now batting number 3, Jake Patasi.
Potazik reached on a walk in the third. And then he was caught in a rundown between second and third. First offering from Emens is outside for a ball. Runner in scoring position can give the Blue Ribbons the lead. The next offering is in for a called strike. One on, 2 down here in the fourth. In a 4-4 game, Potazik looks at strike 2. Looks like the home plate umpire maybe got some dirt in his eye, and that's what he's trying to get taken care of. Of course, some of the dust from the catcher's mitt can come up and catch you, I suppose. One and 2 count on Potazik. Here comes the pitch. Down low, ball gets away. Advancing to third will be Sequin. As the count is now even at 2 and 2. So all Jake has to do is hit a single, and the Blue Ribbons have the lead. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And just for good measure, Bloomberg will apply the tag to Potazik to end the inning. But the Blue Ribbons tie it up as we head to the fifth, 4-4 score on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. We move to the fifth. New pitcher on the mound for Green Bay is number 13, Isaac Verbruggen. Axel Donaldson goes 4 innings of work. Leading off this inning for the Nationals is Caleb Zabelski, who takes up high for a ball. Stat line for Donaldson unofficially 4 innings of 6 hit, 4 strikeout ball, giving up 4 runs. That one laced foul down the line. Verbruggen making his 3rd appearance of the season, pitching 2 2/3 innings so far. Deals down low for ball 2. Count now 2-1. Has given up a couple of hits here and there, but he has yet to walk a batter. Does have 3 strikeouts in those 2 2/3 innings of work. He's got a 2-2 count to work with here. That one hit just over the head of Steinbecker, a base hit for Zabelski. So the leadoff man is aboard. That'll bring up Max Montgomery. Montgomery is 1 for 2. He's singled today and come around to score in the 2nd inning. Verbruggen deals low for a ball. That was the 3rd hit of the young season given up by Verbruggen. Just a moment ago to Zabelski. Next pitch is down low for ball 2. Montgomery ahead in the count. Here's the 2-2. Down low, ball 3. Snap throw to first is not in time. Trey Kirchhoff is in the on-deck circle for the Nationals, who have out-hit the Blue Ribbons thus far, 7-5, as that is a 4-pitch walk drawn by Max Montgomery. There are now runners at first and second, and that'll bring up Kirchhoff, who's 0 for 2 today, but has 2 men on and no one out here in the top of the 5th. Here's Verbruggen's first pitch. It's in for a strike. The next offering, breaking ball fouled away out of play. It's 0-2 on Kirchhoff. That ball misses down low for ball 1. Try to get him with a breaking pitch, no avail. That one popped up foul out of play. Count stays at 1-2. Kirchhoff wearing number 1, playing third base today. 2 on, nobody out. Here's the 1-2 swing and a miss. Strike 3. Kirchhoff goes down swinging. That's the first out of the inning, and that'll bring up Andrew Carlson. Carlson has reached both times. He has walked and singled in the game today. Has an RBI chance here with a runner on second. And only one down. Good block from Duzak, as that's ball one. Here's the next offering. Breaking ball hit into right center. Shallow right center, that is, as the catch is made by Garrett Brown for out number 2.
Now batting number 48, Jackson Bloomberg.
Carlson is retired. There are 2 down, and that'll bring up Jackson Bloomberg, the catcher, who has driven in a run in this game, an RBI double back in the second inning. 2 on, 2 down. Takes first pitch for a strike. Next offering hits the corner for a called strike 2. This would be big for Verbruggen to get out of this inning without surrendering a run. Has to get around the first two batters getting on. Good block from Duzak at ball 1. Sun is shining. Here comes the 1-2. Poked going out is Brown, and he's got it to end the inning. Couple nice plays from Garrett Brown. The Nationals do not score. We go to the bottom of the 5th. 4-4 on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. Still 4-4 as we head to the bottom of inning number 5. Bryce Duzak will lead it off for Green Bay against Rhett Emmons, still on the mound for the Nationals. That one fouled back out of play. Well, this is exciting. I think in the next inning, I'm going to be joined by the general manager of the Blue Ribbons, Brad Krause. Brad does tremendous work with photography and social media clips, as well as keeping things smooth around here. Here's the next offering. It's in for a ball. Brad is also the reason I'm sitting here today. Gave me a chance to sit in this chair and be talking with you folks this afternoon, which I sincerely appreciate. Breaking ball in for strike 2. Duszak 1 for 2. With a 2 RBI single back in the third. Here's the next offering. Up high for a ball. Dawson Schmidt standing in the on-deck circle. Here's the 2-2. That one just foul. Nice job by Duszak to get a piece of that one. Coming into the game today, Duszak a .333 hitter. Another 2-2 from Emons. Check swing, did he go? I think they said that he did. That's out number 1. Had to check with the first base umpire to verify. Duszak goes down. And that'll bring up Dawson Schmidt. Schmidt has reached both times. He singled and reached on an error as he shoots this one foul out of play. Here's the next offering from Emons, called strike 2. Nothing in 2 on Schmidt. The next offering is popped up foul out of play. Talked about earlier just how red hot of a start Schmidt has been on. In this game, he collected his 5th RBI of the season earlier in this one. Swings at a breaking ball and fouls it away. Still has yet to strike out, and he's looking to avoid that here. 1 down here in the 5th. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Schmidt goes down swinging. That's out number 2. And that'll bring up James Bornick.
Number 7, James Bornick.
Bornick is 0 for 1 with a walk. Emons has struck out the first 2 batters he's faced in this inning. Bornick shoots that one right back up the middle, and a diving attempt by Harreby. He could not get it. That is a 2-out single for the Blue Ribbon first baseman. So with 2 down here in the inning, we're going to have a switch at the DH position as Noah Robinson will dig in. Isaac Pullman had been the previous DH, but Tanner Alstein's making a change. Be curious if we maybe see Pullman in a relief effort later. First pitch misses for a ball. Robinson batting .600 so far. 3 hits in 5 at-bats. Takes called strike. Runner on first, 2 down. Here comes the 1-1. Swing and a miss. That's strike 2. Braden Steinbecker in the on-deck circle. He just wants to get an opportunity in this inning. Eamons ahead of Robinson, 1-2. That one poked foul off to the third base side. Still tied at 4 here in the bottom of the 5th. Another 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Robinson goes down swinging. That's the 3rd strikeout of the inning for Rhett Eamons. To leave Bornick stranded at first. We go to the 6th. Nationals 4, Blue Ribbons 4 on the Green Bay Blue Ribbons Media Network. We move to the top of the inning number 6. 4-4 game. Blue Ribbons and Nationals. Chance Ruby is in the batter's box for the Nets. Now on the mound for the Blue Ribbons is Ian Aoki, and I am pleased to be joined in the booth by the general manager of the Blue Ribbons, Brad Krause. Brad, thank you for joining us here this afternoon as there's a chopper to Steinbecker at short, and he gets him in time for the first out of the inning. Welcome to the press box.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's a great day for a couple of ball games out here.
First out of the inning as Ruby is retired. We go back to the top of the Nationals order and Tyrese Mitchell. So just give us an overall idea of what your role is here for the Blue Ribbons.
I wear a lot of different hats with the Blue Ribbons. So this is my 8th year with the organization. Started out just doing photography. Got into a little bit of graphic design, web design, merchandising, marketing, kind of media relations, all over the board. And then this year, when our GM stepped down, stepped in to fill that role, hopefully on an interim basis, but we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that Tanner will maybe want that role going forward. But for this year, at least, I stepped into the GM role.
And I said earlier that you are the one responsible for allowing me to sit in this chair. So I've told you before, but I'll say it again on the air. Thank you for the chance. I know Sam and I both feel very privileged to be here this summer.
Of course, yeah. We love having you guys. You guys are doing a great job so far.
The 2-0 from Aoki's down low, ball 3. Now, how many years have you been involved with the Blue Ribbons organization?
This is my 8th season. I started back in 2019. Back then, we were actually still the De Pere Dodgers, but it was our first year out here at the Joe, and been here ever since.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the team last year got off to a really good start, and then things around July 4th started to tamper off a little bit, as that's ball 4 to Mitchell. He'll be on first base.
Yeah, that second half of the season, that's always a rough part of the year for us, especially, as we start losing players, guys get promoted. We have a lot of guys that go up to the Northwoods. I think on average, probably 5, 6, 7 guys each year will move up to the Northwoods League at midseason. And then especially with pitching as well, you run into a lot of guys hitting their pitch limits and they have to shut down. So first half to second half is always a change, and it takes a little bit to adapt to.
Can you explain just kind of the process in putting a roster together as Tanner Harrowby digs in, and just having a different collage of players from different colleges, from really different states as well? It can be kind of difficult to manage what they need from both a college perspective and a Blue Ribbons perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of that is working hand in hand with Tanner. He's actually the one on the field managing the squad.
That ball is going to be over the head of Clue. Mitchell dinging around third. He will head to the plate, and he will come in to score, and it is now 5-4 Nationals on the RBI double from Tanner Harrowby.
Yeah, as I was saying though, Tanner does a great job making sure he knows, what pitchers need to get what innings, who needs at bats, things like that. He manages the squad really well, but building it has kind of been a group effort throughout the offseason. Hayden and Brian Price did a fantastic job over the last 2 years of putting this squad together. I think a lot of the success that we've had can be attributed to those two.
Jonah Meinl got drilled by the pitch, so he now stands at first. Runners on first and second with only one down here in the inning, and Duzak will go talk to Aoki.
And so they had, kind of had half the roster built already at the time that they left. So my job really was to kind of talk to a lot of the returning players and, see who was interested in coming back and bring them back into the fold. And then working with Tanner as well. Tanner's done a great job of bringing in some additional players that he knew. So I'd say really between the 4 of us, it's been a group effort to put this year's roster together.
Caleb Zabilski will step into the batter's box with runners on first and second. Only one down here in the top of the 6th. First pitch from Aoki is outside for a ball. How difficult is it when you have some of those players that have to, for college reasons, go start training with their college program or shut down entirely in the second half of the season? How difficult is it to have a full roster at your disposal?
It gets tough. We get asked a lot why we have such a large roster.
Nice play by Steinbecker at short, but the throw is not in time.
And
safe at first is Zabilski, and the bases are now loaded.
That's a big reason that we have such a large roster is we know there's going to be some attrition. We're going to lose some guys over time, whether it's injury, promotions, just getting shut down by their college teams. We know that the team we start with isn't going to be the team that we end with. And so you might see guys coming in who maybe aren't playing a lot at the beginning of the year, but they're going to get their chance at the end of the year. We have guys on temporary contracts, half-season contracts. So when those guys depart, then we have another group of guys ready to step in and take their place. They're getting that practice now, getting those reps now. They might not get as much game action currently, but when July rolls around, you might see them in the lineup every day.
Max Montgomery is the batter. And that ball gets away from Duzak. Coming in to score is Harrowby. Advancing to third will be Meidel. It is now 6-4 Nationals. And the count goes to 2-0 on Max Montgomery. He lifts this one into right center. Going back is Schmidt and Sequin. Schmidt makes the catch. Tagging from third is Meidel. He will come in to score, and that makes it 7-4.
Now batting number 1, Trey Kirsten.
That'll bring up Trey Kirkhoff. Has there been a season or a moment that really stands out to you as one of your favorites amongst them all?
I would say 2 years ago was pretty special when we made it to the state tournament for the first time. We went through some rough seasons, you know, the COVID years, 2020, 2021. We had some struggles, but, you know, what would have that been? 2024, when Hayden took over as manager, Ken took over as president. I think we saw a lot of really positive changes within the organization. You know, not to say that we didn't already have that kind of core developing, but that was kind of a really big jump for us to be able to make it down to the state tournament. We played that down in Burlington, went all the way to the championship game where we lost to Kenosha. That was a really fun season.
Kirkhoff swings and misses. The count goes to 0-2. And I guess the other thing I wanted to ask you is what do you think is next for this Blue Ribbons group? What's the next big project that you have your fingerprints in right now?
Honestly, the state league. That's kind of the goal. We want to win a Wisconsin State League championship. We're hoping to get there. We'll see what happens this year. Beyond that, you know, that's kind of 1A and 1B is the player development. We love seeing these guys promoted, going up to the Northwoods League, even some guys in the past going out to the Prospect League, to the Cape Cod League. You know, seeing these guys move up and advance is a big part of what we do. I think Tanner and I have really talked about that we want that to be a little bit more of the focus, is getting these guys promoted, getting them those chances. So, you know, I've really made an effort to get in touch with some of those Northwoods League teams, rather than us being bummed out when we lose a guy. We kind of want to celebrate that and do what we can to help him move on up.
2-2 the count. That's low for ball 3. And it just speaks to how special this group is. Of course, it's a nonprofit organization that you want to see the success of your players. Not a lot of organizations, I would imagine, feel that way.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, I don't know that there are a lot of nonprofit organizations, you know, just amongst the teams that we play or other teams in other leagues nearby. So it is a unique experience. We're ran by mostly volunteers. So, you know, we're out here because we love baseball. We really like to see these guys grow and build up, you know, grow in their career and kind of take that next step forward. That's almost as rewarding as winning. Obviously, winning comes first, but development's a close second.
We are going to have a pitching change. We'll step aside for just a moment. 7-4 Nationals on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. New pitcher on the mound for Green Bay is Evan Chikanovsky. He will come in with 2 on and 2 down here in the 6th. Andrew Carlson will be the batter. And he takes up high for a ball 1. Dom D'Angelo still hanging out with Brad Krause, as I learned. I kept calling you Kraus previously. I apologize for that.
You're good.
Krause. And you said it was maybe related to origin, where people say it. Half your family says Kraus, half say Krause.
Yeah, we were talking during the break. Where I grew up, most people say Krause. Other areas, the Appleton area, you hear a lot more Kraus. So just kind of depends. I don't care one way or another. It doesn't bother me that much. But yeah, it's something I've dealt with my whole life.
It's important to get someone's name accurate, Not many people call me by my full name anymore. Most people just resort to Dom instead of Dominic these days.
Sure. Yeah. I think I do that.
Goes around for strike 2. Count even at 2-2 with 2 on and 2 down here in the 6th inning. Chikanovsky trying to get out of this jam. That one poked foul out of play. So where did the name, were you involved in the changing of the Dodgers to the Blue Ribbons and the naming with that?
I wasn't really involved with that. It kind of was already in place when I came on board. But the original Blue Ribbons played here for years. Started in 1970. They've been around forever. And so when we moved out to Joanne's in 2019, I know Denny Rue was leading the team at the time, along with Tony Freeman, who was our president. They thought it was a great idea to bring that name back just to go along with the ballpark. And being that we moved from De Pere to Green Bay, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to be called the De Pere Dodgers anymore.
Brad, I thank you for joining me this half inning. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll come back with the bottom of the 6th inning in just a moment. So check that. In a delayed call, there was a drop third strike, and now the inning comes to a close as Fisher grounds out to short, and that will end the top half of inning number 6. Back at 30 right after this. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Nationals 7, Blue Ribbons 4. There was a little bit of confusion in that last half inning on my part. There was a pop-up that was dropped in foul territory that kept the inning alive for one more pitch before Joe Fisher grounded out to Braden Steinbecker, who leads off this inning for Green Bay. Once again, thank you to Brad Krause, as he was called, or Brad Krause, whichever you prefer, for joining me that last half inning. Brad is a wonderful guy. Ground ball to be taken by the shortstop, Ruby, on a hop. Throw to first in time for out number 1. Steinbecker is retired, and that'll bring up Garrett Brown.
Now batting number 53, Garrett Brown.
Garrett's 1 for 2 so far today. Takes low for a ball. Eamon's still on the mound. He deals in a strike. And here comes the 1-1. Breaking ball upstairs for ball 2. Here comes the 2-1. Brown swings and fouls it back. Count even now at 2-2. Eamons is ready. Brown is ready. The sun is shining. Here comes the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Brown is retired. That's out number 2, and that'll bring up Mason Sequin. Mason hit an RBI double his last time up in the 4th. He's got that bright pink bat. Sam and I have become fans of the baby blue or teal bat that some players have been sporting throughout this season. Mason going with the bright pink. Takes fastball up high for ball 1. This is only game 1 of a doubleheader this afternoon. A day-evening doubleheader. Breaking ball in for strike 2. Here comes the 1-2 from Eamons. Just misses for ball 2 up high. Top of the order is due up after Sequin bats. Braden Plew in the on-deck circle. Here's the 2-2. That one slicing in foul territory and out of play. Sequin stays alive. Carlson and Zamilski gave it a good run. Two down here in the 6th. The next offering. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Rhett Eamons. The Blue Ribbons go in order. We go to the 7th. 7-4 Nationals on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. We move to the 7th. Chance Ruby will be the leadoff man for the Nationals, who lead the Blue Ribbons 7-4 in Game 1 of this doubleheader. Evan Chikanovsky is on the mound. And I think in that last error that was recorded, there was another run that came in to score. So I believe it is now 8-4 Nationals over the Blue Ribbons. That's on me, my apologies. 8-4 Nats. Pitch in for a called strike. Here's the 1-2. That one lifted into left center. Going back is Sequin. And he makes the catch. Ruby gave it a good ride, but Sequin's glove caught it. That's out number 1. And that'll bring up Tyrese Mitchell,
Now batting number 3, Jason Randolph.
who is going to be pinch hit for. And I will identify who that is in just a second. Big number 3 for West Allis is Jason Randolph, who's got an even 1-1 count. Big left-handed batter, swings and misses. Chikanovsky fires upstairs, ball 2. 2-2 the count. Fastball upstairs, count runs full. 3-2 on Randolph. And that's low for ball 4. Randolph draws a walk. And that'll bring up Tanner Harrowby, who had the big swing of the bat in the last inning. An RBI double. Part of what was a 4-run inning for the Nats. Here comes the 1-0. Chikanovsky deals upstairs for a ball. The 2-0 is a breaking ball called strike 1. This one hit into left center. Once again, going back is Sequin. And he's got it again. That's out number 2. Randolph will have to retreat to first. And that'll bring up Jonah Meidel. And there is going to be a pause in play as Steve Mitchell is barking at somebody on the Green Bay side of things. Looks like he's just alerting everyone of a change as number 13 steps into the batter's box. As there was a brief pause in play. Runner on first, 2 down, pitch in for a strike. Still scrolling my roster to see number 13. That is Roundtree, who has come back into the game and is now batting. So Joe Roundtree, who started as the starting pitcher today, is now batting. He's got a 0-1 count. Check swing. Did he go around? They say that he did. And that ends the inning. A little bit of confusion in that half inning. Regardless, the Nats will leave one stranded, but still lead it 8-4. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Put up or shut up time when we come back on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. Well, there's work to be done, to say the least, for Green Bay. They trail at 8-4 as we head to the bottom half of the 7th inning. And just a reminder to those who may not be familiar, when you're playing a doubleheader, games only go 7 innings. So this will be the last half inning unless we go into extras. Braden Plew will lead things off for Green Bay. Plew 1 for 3. He singled and came around to score back in the 3rd. Takes called strike 1. Brett Emmons is still on the mound for the Nationals. He's had a long relief appearance, but he's done pretty well in his time out there. Came back all the way back in the 3rd inning. Danny Belknap was unable to record an out. And it has been Emmons ever since that point. Big swing and a miss, strike 2. Two and 2 count on Plew. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Plew is retired. That's the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up Jake Potazik. Potazik 0 for 2 with a walk. Looking to just get on base, get a base runner for some of the big thumpers in this lineup. Takes up high for a ball. Here's the 1-0. In for a called strike. Emons is ready. He rocks and fires. Up high, ball 2. Emons is in line for the win if he can close this one out. Patazik pops this one up. Left side of the infield. And making the catch is the shortstop, Ruby. That's out number 2. And it all comes down to Bryce Duzak. Duzak is 1 for 3. He does have a 2 RBI single. And that was after Belknap came in the 3rd inning. Struck out his previous time up against Emons. Takes a pitch low in the dirt for ball 1. Here's the 1-0. Breaking pitch, swung on and missed for strike 1. Dawson Schmidt is standing in the on-deck circle, just wants to get a chance. Duzak needs to get on base to keep this game going. Check swing, he went around. The count moves to 1-2. Nationals are 1 strike away from winning Game 1 of this doubleheader. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that is the ball game. High throw to first in time. And the Nationals will take Game 1 by a final score of 8-4. We'll come back with the totals in just a moment on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. Game 1 of this doubleheader goes to West Allis. They win it by a final score of 8-4. We've got the totals for the winning Nationals. 8 runs on 9 hits. They did commit 1 error. The winning pitcher was Rhett Emons, who came in all the way back in inning number 3. And records the win in this one for the Blue Ribbons. 4 runs on 6 hits. They did commit 2 errors. The losing pitcher is Isaac Verbruggen, who gave up 3 runs in the 6th inning. That concludes our coverage of Game 1 of this doubleheader. Stick around for just about a half hour. Game 2 will have first pitch. They'll reset the field here at Joannes Park. We'll reset everything and get ready to do it again. So that concludes our coverage on the Blue Ribbons Media Network. Dom D'Angelo saying thank you so much for listening and goodbye from beautiful and historic Joannes Park. Again, the final in Game 1, the West Allis Nationals 8 and the Green Bay Blue Ribbons 4. This has been a presentation of Green Bay Blue Ribbons Baseball on the Blue Ribbons Media Network.